welcome. This is Amy Cooper with Rise, and we are celebrating Women's History Month by celebrating exceptional women in the insurance industry. So I have today with me Kathy Gullivan. Thanks for joining me.
It's great to be here, Amy, and I am Kathy Gullivan. I'm the Chief Operations Officer with Westfield.
So we were just talking about this a little bit, but can you tell me about a crucial, a defining moment that played a crucial role in your success?
I can't really point to one moment, but I certainly can point to one theme. Every time I accepted a role that made me uncomfortable, nervous, questioned my sanity as to whether I was capable of doing it, is when I grew the most and the most opportunities met me. So it really was every time that I felt uncomfortable and took a leap of faith in myself and the person who was giving me the opportunity is when I saw the trajectory of my career change.
That kind of goes to the theme that you're going to talk at Rise about, being comfortable in the uncomfortable. That's pretty
It's
cool.
definitely the theme of my career. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, you have a pretty big role, and you also have a pretty awesome life. So how are you maintaining your work-life balance?
I think that for anybody who knows me knows that family is absolutely important. I have 4 kids and now they're getting on the grown side of it. But, I've grown through my career while raising a family of 4. And I really have a couple pieces of advice as to how you balance work life. And first and foremost, don't think of it as formulaic. I think when you start looking at it as work is the hours between 8 and 5 and home are the hours otherwise, and you get so married to those type of things, that's when you start getting stressed. And what you need to understand is that work-life balance means sometimes work comes first and sometimes home comes first. And the magic is when you can figure out which one needs to come first at any given time. And it starts with understanding everything isn't of equal importance. So not every meeting that is scheduled on your calendar is equally as important as every other meeting. And so sometimes it's okay to say no and to say, I need to be here for my family or be here for this volunteering opportunity or be someplace else. But in the same respect, sometimes work has to come first, and you might be there in the office until 11 o'clock at night because of a deadline. It is, and it's really understanding those two things and figuring it out. But most important of all of them is giving yourself some grace. You can't be everything all the time, and so I think where you fall down or where women really are hard on themselves, they think they need to be Martha Stewart. They think they need to be the CEO. They need to be the coach and the parent and everything else. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to go buy those cookies for the bake sale. And, sometimes it's okay to miss a softball game or a baseball game. And really it's about grace, it's about balance, and it's about not keeping score.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a friend tell me that the balance wasn't always about being equal, but it was about harmony across your life and just letting things, like you said, sometimes certain things take more importance than others. So you also, I think you're pretty familiar with Rise has a mentorship program. We've talked about the importance of mentors, but from your perspective, how important is mentorship for women in insurance? And do you have any experiences you want to share?
Mentorship is critical, I think, in insurance, in any industry. And I think it's important because I see mentors as somebody that will have difficult conversations with you and push you in ways that maybe you might not be terribly comfortable being pushed. But it's a trusting relationship as well, where you can be your authentic self and you can be vulnerable and you can share when you're a little bit nervous or a little bit concerned about things. I think that mentorship is everybody who has sort of risen through the ranks has an obligation to be a mentor to somebody else. And to me, it's my number one passion is helping develop the next generation is what gives me the most passion of anything that I do in any day. And I think it's the most important thing I could do. But what I would tell people starting in their career you've got to own it. So you have to go out and look for it and ask for it, and take charge of it. And there are awesome formal mentorship programs that different organizations offer, different employers offer, but there are so many informal mentorships that are equally important, and they're not always somebody that is 2 or 3 levels above you. Some of my most important mentors were people that actually worked for me that had some really crucial skills that I needed some help with, that I knew that I could have honest conversations with, ask for advice, and they'd give it to me whether I wanted to hear it or not. And so that's what I really think about mentorship.
Yeah, I completely agree. So you talked about some of like, someone, a younger woman or someone getting started in their career. What advice do you have for them?
Take charge, and don't wait for things to happen to you. I think it's really easy for women, especially, to say, hey, if I just do it a little bit better, if I put my head down, or if I, do whatever, people will notice that I'm good and things will happen. But you need to let people know that you are hungry for opportunities. And you also need to volunteer for things when you can see absolutely no benefit for volunteering other than more work. Because in the moment, that might be the only benefit is more work, but I am absolutely confident, and I am living proof that volunteering to work on that project, even though I didn't have to, or pick up another responsibility, even though it wasn't in my job description, is really the reason I am in the role that I am today. It all built on themselves. And I think it's made me a better executive, because now I see things from so many different angles. And so it's taking charge in a whole bunch of different ways. It's speaking up for yourself, but it's also leaning in and doing more than you think you have to, or even you're comfortable with. And so that's probably the primary advice that I'd give any woman out there today starting off her career.
It's pretty excellent advice. Now, for those that are aspiring to be at your level sometime in their career, do you have any other extra advice to add to that?
Take risks. And so, it's one of my themes, but often the way to the top isn't exactly a straight shot that builds on itself. And sometimes you have to go sideways, even though it seems like, but I want to be up there. So how could be going sideways work for me? And it's a risk to get off the path that you think is the way to the top. But it's take those opportunities that stretch you, and take those challenges that make you question, what you're doing. It's really about taking risks, because with great risk comes great rewards.
Well, thank you for this excellent advice. Everyone watching, follow us for more Women's History Month interviews with excellent women. And thank you again, Kathy, for joining me.
It's been my pleasure.